How much does the OG injury worry you?
Um, well, let me see. First of all, thanks for having me. It is worrisome. He has, not only has OG been great in this playoff, but if you really look back at since OG Anunoby came to the Knicks from Toronto, he has kind of always quietly been the X factor. Yes, Jalen Brunson's the leader of this team, the biggest star of this team, and obviously a stud. But when you think about it, this team is successful when OG Anunoby is available, and this team excels when OG Anunoby is great. So, I have to say, there is no world in which this team goes on a run like to the finals without OG Anunoby. I don't think that's possible. So it's a big, big thing to watch here over the next 24 to 48 hours.
We heard Mike Brown point out again the foul disparity in this game. Now, it wasn't as, blatant last night as it was, I think, in game one. But do you think the Knicks are getting an unfair whistle, or is there maybe something else going on here?
I mean, listen, it certainly felt that way. Like in the first half, particularly yesterday, it just felt like at every possible moment when momentum might starting to be swing the way of the Knicks, there you'd hear that whistle, sometimes a delayed whistle, and it was incredibly frustrating to watch. And that is sort of the way of this Sixers team. I guess it was interesting to see it be the case even without Joel Embiid in the game. He is sort of the one you expect to see flailing and picking up those fouls in every situation. And so with him out to still see the fouls, you could certainly see the look of frustration on the faces of many of the Knicks. But in the end, that was a really gritty and gutsy performance from this Knicks team. I did not like how they adjusted to the new look Sixers. Of course, in game one, they had seen the Embiid version of this team, and it's a markedly different team without Joel Embiid. So I didn't love the way the Knicks adjusted. They fell sort of into the trap of a little bit in the first half, I thought in particular, what I call Brunson ball, where they just sort of sit back and end up watching Jalen Brunson too much. That is not when this team is at their best. This team is at its best when the offense, and this has been said ad nauseum at this point, when the offense is flowing through Cat and OG Anunoby. Jalen Brunson is going to always get his looks no matter what, but they don't want to end up in a pattern of just sitting there watching Jalen Brunson chuck. And I thought that happened a bit in the first half. In the second half, though, they found the rhythm, found their game, and obviously they ended up gutting out a really, really important win.
So Dolan has been clear with everybody all year that it's make the finals or bust. Is this an NBA Finals team to you?
Fully healthy at this point, it is. Yeah, I mean, we were having a conversation yesterday. Don't these playoffs guys make you feel like, what are we even doing in the regular season? Like, what are we watching? Why are we bothering talking about this week to week? Because, I'm a Celtics fan who covers the Knicks here, being in New York. The Celtics were one thing in the regular season, something completely different when they get to the playoffs, obviously, right? Like, Missoula's style seemed to be good for 82 games. You get to the playoffs, it's garbage. The 76ers have to get into the play-in game. Now they seem like a competitive basketball team. And this Knicks team, they had their ups and downs, particularly after the NBA Cup. They really, they followed the pattern of the winner of the Cup immediately goes into a slump. And they had a rough 10-game span after that. They were really a good team throughout. But the truth is, guys, what they've been over the last 5 games is a different team than they were in the regular season. And this version that they've been, because if you were to ask me in early March, or even early April, how I felt about this team, I'd say I think they have some juice and can compete. But I frankly think that by May 7th, we would have been talking about, will Giannis be a Knick next year? And now this is a team that you have every reason to believe should go to the finals. I mean, obviously Detroit had their number during the regular season, but as I just said, who gives a damn about the regular season? At this moment in time, the Detroit team that barely made it out of the first round, yeah, I like this Knicks team to go all the way to the finals.
All right, you brought it up because I feel like it's like death taxes Giannis talk no matter what day of the year it is on the calendar. There's so much Giannis to the Knicks speculation. Giannis even said, if I go anywhere, I want to be a New York Knick. If the Knicks do get to the NBA Finals, does that quiet the Giannis speculation? Or is it just like, okay, great, we got to the finals, and then the next day we're right back into the Giannis to Knicks speculation?
I truly believe, and I may be an ignoramus, guys. I think if they go to the finals, that they keep this team together. I just it's hard for me to believe this is a team that has not been in that spot in 27 years. You're telling me that with this group, they make the move and get all the way to the finals. And as good as it is to get to the conference finals, we all know that in all sports, whether it's making the Super Bowl or making the conference finals or winning the pennant, there's something different about representing your conference. To me, to blow up a team that 2 years ago at that point would have made the conference final, and then a year later took the next step and made the final. To me, to blow that up and get rid of basically, potentially, guys, every big piece on this team, not named Jalen Brunson, to bring in Giannis, who, let's be honest, I mean, he's incredible. He is a team-changing player. He's also kind of become an annoying malcontent. Like, is that really what you want to do here? Like, I think this city would be, and also, for them to get to the finals, guys, that would mean that Karl-Anthony Towns has an incredible playoff run all the way through. So then you'd be turning around and probably moving on from Cat, who at that point would have finally fully won over the New York fan base. I don't think you blow it up if you go to the finals. I don't.
You'd also have gotten through the Celtics and the 76ers in the process, which is like you're killing your rivals again. I don't know. It just feels like there's a magic to that entire conversation. Let's stick in New York, Peter, and talk about some of the other sports that happen in the city that you cover so much, which includes the New York Football Giants. Harbaugh comes in, makes a bunch of changes to the Giants. As somebody that covers this team and the city so much, what's the ceiling for the Giants in your mind?
I mean, listen, this really depends who you ask. And if you ask an optimistic Giant fan, I think they believe that this team will compete this year. And by that, I think we're talking, 500-ish football, an 8-9 sort of season, a 9-8 sort of season. I think that is the sort of ceiling that people have. I mean, I guess if you're a crazy person, you could go above that. To me, I think it's a little bit lofty still. And guys, full disclosure, because everyone in my radio audience knows this, I am a huge, loud, and proud Washington Commanders fan. I could give two damns about the New York Giants. I hope they lose every game next year. But I do try to cover them honestly and fairly. And, we saw some promising things from this team. There are pieces on both sides of the ball. Obviously, one of those pieces they just moved on from in Dexter Lawrence. Now, I believe, in spite of the fact that it led to a phenomenal draft pick, I believe that's a bigger problem than Giants fans are giving it credit for. I think everyone's so busy being like, oh man, Joe Shane got a great haul back for Dexter Lawrence. Instead of thinking, around the league, people consider Dexter Lawrence like a top 3 guy at the position. And you moved on from him. And you are filling that spot with, veterans making $6.5 million a year. To act as if that's not going to be potentially a problem in their run defense, I think is a little silly. And I think that could create some problems. I also think you have to expect that the Eagles are going to be eagling. I expect the Cowboys to be better this season. I certainly expect my Commanders to take a step back from where they were last year. And I assume Jaden Daniels will have a healthy year and that team will bounce back. So, I think there's high expectations around this team, and with good reason. The only pause I'm trying to give Giants fans is Baltimore moved on from John Harbaugh for a reason. It is over. They could not make it work anymore with Lamar Jackson, with a very talented team. They were not able to be successful anymore. So I think everyone's excited because the last regime was so bad, and that is certainly a good reason to think that Harbaugh will bring instability. I'm just not quite ready to believe yet that this is a team that jumps to 10-7 or even 9-8, frankly. I see them more in the 7-10 conversation.
You mentioned how you wouldn't mind if the Giants lost every game next year. This is a team that might lose every game next year, and that's the New York Jets.
That's every year.
It's every year. Yeah, it's nothing different. It's a tradition unlike any other. They reportedly made an offer to Russell Wilson, which I find hilarious because they're like, hey, our quarterback room is terrible. What can help it? Russell Wilson. Surely that'll do the trick.
Yeah.
But Russell Wilson has said he's mulling over that offer. He's also mulling over some potential TV offers. He's gotten reportedly some offers to be in the booth next season. So if Russell Wilson is not jumping at the opportunity to play for the Jets and he's instead looking at some TV opportunities, does that say more about Russell Wilson or the Jets?
I cannot believe the Jets are having this conversation. Like, being here in New York, we got such a good look at Russell Wilson last year, guys. Russell Wilson is done. There is nothing. Like, on the Dunham meter, like, Kirk Cousins is slipping into Dunzo land. Russell Wilson's living in Dunzo mania is running wild on. He had one good game against Dallas last year early in the season. Of course, their defense was an absolute mess at the time. Beyond that, guys, he couldn't complete basic passes. That doesn't even include the fact that, God bless him, he had a great career. I think a Hall of Fame career, but he's also he's not taking any risks at this point, guys. He's avoiding hits at every play possible. There's no reason to have him there. Now, granted, after Geno Smith, this is a horrifying quarterback room. Their second string quarterback at the moment is Brady Cook. Cook is the right word because the whole quarterback room after Geno Smith is cooked. Brady Cook, the great Cade Klubnik, and Bailey Zappi. It ain't sexy in the Jets quarterback room, okay? But there's no reason to bring Russ in there. There's just not. You have Geno for a reason. If you want to develop one of the kids under him, great. But I don't see any upside to this, and I don't think any Jets fans want to see it. I think the place for Russ is in the booth. Russell Wilson, to me, guys, is one of those people who I feel like he never seems to get along with the locker room. Like, everyone thinks he's, like, kind of a weirdo. But I could see him being very good talking football. Like, I could actually believe that. It's funny. It's the exact opposite that I feel about Mike Tomlin. Like, I feel like Mike Tomlin is so good at all things football. I don't know that his personality screams to me, I need to see Mike Tomlin on my television. But Russell Wilson, I think, get that man in the booth and get him out of a locker room. I just don't think there's any gas left in the tank.